All right, so like I said, not my tier list, just found this one. So this is a random list of albums from 2024. I really want to make my top 30 of the year and then like talk about it on stream sometime, but that's probably not going to be until next month when I get the list figured out and finished. So, and I don't know if anybody would even care to know that. I'm just a huge music nerd and listen to way too much music. So, all right, so this looks like a very basic list. This is basically like the list that if you looked up any music from last year, these are probably going to be the ones that show up. This definitely isn't like this is popular music, let's just put it that way. So right off the bat, number 1, we have The Cure. The Cure, I was a little bit worried about this one. Not gonna lie, I was a little worried about this one, but it is a fantastic album. Man, it's going A. It's very close to an S, but it's gonna go A. The Cure's been doing it for like forever at this point, and to make an album that good all these years later is very, very rare. Cowboy Carter from Beyonce. I'm gonna be completely honest, I skipped this one. It was nothing against Beyonce. It was just the fact that I don't know if I could get into an album from Beyonce going country. I don't think I could do it. Not to say that I won't listen to it in the future though. I just haven't gotten to it yet. There's going to be some on here that I haven't listened to yet. So Cure's been doing it for basically 50 years. My top favorite band. Really? That's dope, Revivalist. That's cool, man. I love their stuff, man. Don't listen to country in general. I mean, I do it for the sake of listening to new albums and stuff like that, but I don't enjoy it. It's very rare if I enjoy country. So like I said, nothing against this. I just haven't gotten around to listening to it. What was this, like Eternal Sunshine or something like that from Ariana Grande? Honestly, not her best. I haven't listened to all of her albums, but I've listened to some, and it felt way too safe in my opinion. It didn't do anything for me. Love country, loathe Beyonce, to each their own. I went through a country phase for a while, but I just can't do it anymore. Country has gone downhill so bad. Classic country is one thing, but this new stuff, I can't do it. So yeah, Ariana, I would put in D. Like I said, it was too safe for me. Jason Aldean, thanks. Bro killed country. I mean, honestly, it did kind of start in that 2011, 2012, I would say, is when his breakout was, and it did kind of change the landscape of what country is now. So yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Okay, Imaginal Disc. This right here, I would say is probably in the running for album of the year for a lot of people. Now, I will say I enjoyed this album. I'm not super familiar with that kind of music. Like, I'm kind of new to all of that. So I enjoyed it, but I probably didn't enjoy it like some people did. Nothing wrong with it at all. I personally just have to warm up to that kind of music. So I would go B here. Definitely worth a listen to though. Ken Carson. Ken Carson. Man, listen, if anybody comes into chat and is gonna get offended, I'm sorry. But I can't do much Ken Carson, man. I really can't. Not a big fan. Vampire Weekend's album. I need to look up some of the names of these albums because I forget what the names are sometimes. Only God Was Above Us. Yeah, okay. Vampire Weekend. They came back strong with this one, man. Like, this was a freaking fantastic album. I would probably put this in A. I'm going to try to keep all of these in order too. So like I may switch the order around somewhere like that. But yeah, Cure still beats this one so far. And then some of these I don't. Okay, yeah. See, like some of these I recognize, but I don't remember what they are. Didn't listen to that one. Not 100% sure about that one. So some of these, like I said, we're gonna have to skip over. One of the saddest albums of the year for sure. Bright Future. if you like sad music, this album is your album. This was one of the saddest albums of the year. And I love sad music, and even this was like, holy cow. I would go B. Again, both of these are gonna be like album of the year for a lot of people. Man, I feel bad for putting both of these in B, but that's just because I'm new to kind of that style of music anyway. So no judgment or anything by me for sure. 2093, I think it was, right? It had some good beats to it. The beats, I think, were the strongest part of this album. So I put that like right in the middle. And then Benny Butcher. Benny Butcher had like, I don't know how many albums Benny Butcher either put out last year or was a part of last year, but it was a lot. This one, kinda lackluster, man. I ain't gonna lie. It's a little bit better than Carson, though. I will say that. MGMT. What was the name of this one? I'm bad with the name, like the name titles sometimes, so forgive me for having to look these up. Loss of Life. This one was really good. It wasn't their best by far, but it was still good. I'm going to put this at the front of B. Not their best, definitely not their worst, though. Bidoo, or however you say this chick's name. Beebadooby. This How Tomorrow Moves. Did not get around to this one either. But she's super talented though, so that's one that I need to go back to and listen to. Okay, hey, we might have our first S right here. The Marias. Submarine by the Marias. Absolute banger. Do we have our first S? I think we might have our first S, man. This is gonna be, if I had an early prediction for my top 30, like top 30 albums of last year, this is probably going top 5 to top 10. If I had, like I said, I'm still working through them, but if I had to guess, this one's gonna be like, it's gonna be close to the top. Freddie Gibbs. Oh, Freddie Gibbs. Yeah, that's right. Man, kind of a semi letdown, but like I'd probably put it in C. I have absolutely no idea what this one is. Young Lean, I don't know who that is. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea who that is. That's really unfortunate. My bad, Young Lean. No offense. Saint Vincent. This one, I would put this at a C. Probably, honestly, yeah, it's better than both of these. I should have said this from the beginning. A lot of these albums I've only heard one time, so it's like first impression. If you go back and listen to an album a second time, it can have a totally different impact on you, as you know, how you hear it and stuff that sticks out and stuff like that. If I give these like not a great rating or whatever, it's not that they're bad albums. They're just, my first impression of the album is what I'm going with for most of these. Cool, man. Where we been, where we go from here. Yeah, by Frico. I'm not sure exactly how you say it. Was not familiar with them until this album, but early prediction, it's gonna be very high. Yeah, okay. There we go. See, I knew that it would like come to me at some point. I just had to get reminders. All right, this one, I mean, it was okay. Nothing special to me, but it wasn't bad by any means. Like just kind of mid for me. Lady Gaga with like something to do with the Joker. It was like a Harley Quinn. I don't really know how it fit in with the movie, but it came out the same time as the second Joker movie. I don't know what the album purpose was or anything like that, but it was just a bunch of like covers. Her voice was good, but like I don't really know what the purpose of it was. Most people hated it. Whoa, Waffle House hat. Oh snap. I mean, her voice was like good in the album, but like again, I just like I don't know what the point of this was. Just kind of there. I don't know if I know what this one is. I know I didn't listen to it, so I guess it doesn't matter. I would like to give attention to it though. So yeah, I would love to give like credit to whoever this is, but I don't know who this is. albumoftheyear.org, it has a star, so it was highly ranked. Conan Gray, I don't think I listened to this one. I have like a list of albums that I still have from last year that I haven't gotten around to yet. Pretty sure that this one is still on there. Let me look. I'm telling you, I'm a nerd, okay? Like, I have lists of albums that I haven't heard yet, all that kind of stuff. So I'm a nerd when it comes to stuff like this. Yeah, okay, so that one hasn't been listened to yet for me. Bon Iver. Y'all mess with Bon Iver? It was good. Not my favorite from him, but it was good. I'd put it right here. Okay, this is gonna be for sure in the album of the year ranks for a lot of people. Charlie XCX with Brat. It was a Brat summer. Like I said, new to this kind of music, honestly. Haven't listened to a lot of this kind of music before. I got blessed up with the first year that I'm listening to this kind of like electronic kind of style, that we get an album like that. Again, still not my favorite, but it's a very good album. So it's going to A. Oh boy. Oh boy. How do you go from this to this? Imagine Dragons with their latest album, Loom. It's not even worth the time. It's really just not even worth the time. It's going straight to F. I'm sorry to any Imagine Dragon fans out there, but I can't do it. Ali X, yep. I don't know, maybe here. Bad Cameo by James Blake and Lil Yachty. Lil Yachty has been on a crazy run the last few years, man. I ain't gonna lie. Yachty went from like being kind of a joke in the industry to like one of my personal favorites. Yachty's going crazy recently. This is a pretty good album. Not spectacular, but it was pretty good. So we'll put it kind of at the front of B so far. Okay, here we go. Speaking of Linkin Park, I held out and I haven't listened to this album because I wasn't sure how to feel about the new lead singer. As you could have guessed, I listened to all of the new Linkin Park album the morning after it came out. Basically, a zero skip. Wow. Really? Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? I'll have to give it a listen. I mean, like I said, the reason I haven't done it yet is because I didn't know how to feel about the new lead singer situation. But I just wanted to be sure that it wasn't doing anything against Chester or what he would have wanted. And so what I had seen in the beginning was very like anti what he would have wanted. And so I just kind of stopped paying attention to it so that it didn't like get me upset and stuff like that. And so that's why I didn't listen to it. But you're convincing me that I need to give it a shot. Hyperdrama, I don't know, very mid for me, like right in the middle. The new Halsey album, I have not gotten around to listen to this one yet. I just realized there's like this list is bigger than any other ones, man. Like I listened to how many this year? Like 400 and some, and this list is still like this row is still the most filled up so far. Okay, We Don't Trust You. This album, whether you liked it or not, is going to go down in history right here, because this is ultimately what sparked the Kendrick and Drake beef. Like Metro and Future dropped 2 full-length albums within a couple of months of each other. The first one was more than enough. I thought it was too long. Stuff started flowing together. The second one really didn't need to happen in a full-length album. It could have been an EP or something like that. But this first one had some lows, but it definitely had its highs as well. I'd probably go like a high B for this, because it did have some lows to it for sure. Jamie XX. This was actually a banger album. Wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy this, but it was very good. I'm giving this an A. In fact, I think it's going right after The Cure. Juice WRLD, R.I.P. Juice. Supposedly his final album that they're gonna release. At least that's what they advertised it and marketed it. and then they were like, well, maybe not. There's a lot of controversy around this album and like who's behind it, who released it, all that sort of stuff. Uh, I mean, it honestly it wasn't very good, and it's nothing against Juice, right? Like he didn't get to finish these songs, or most of them anyway. Like it's nothing against him, but it's bringing his legacy down, which really sucks. Because when he was alive and getting full length albums out there, like he was one of the best, and albums like this just make his name look not as great. That being said, like it wasn't completely terrible. Green Day was Saviors. Okay, I've always been a Green Day fan, but admittingly they fell off hard for quite a while. And I honestly had lost confidence that they were ever going to be anything was going to be back to where I was like, this is really good. But man, I know people still didn't like this is I feel like it was a step up for some people, and then some people are still like, no, this is terrible. They're never going to be the same, whatever. This felt like the closest to old Green Day as we've gotten in a long time. Man, honestly, I'm going A. I thought it was a great album. Wasn't their best, but definitely wasn't their worst either. Going A for that. Future's mixtape, what was this called? Like Pluto or something? Future's better than that, man. Like this felt like leftover project that was just like, hey, let's just throw this out there. I will say Future went crazy last year with everything that he was in. Like, gotta give him props for that. But this mixtape wasn't fully there for me, so it's like kind of right there in the middle. Camilla, I don't know what happened, bro. Her debut album was absolutely phenomenal, and then she just like completely changed everything. That first single that she dropped from this album was probably one of the 5 bottom songs for me of the entire year. Romance, Fontaine's DC. This was a big, like, this was a lot of people loved this album. Yeah, a lot of people were super into this album. Like, it was good. I wasn't crazy about it. Like, I'd put it at the end of B. A lot of people are saying alt record of the year. Like, no, I'm not saying all that. Deeper Well by Casey Musgraves. Probably one of her weakest, if not her weakest album so far, in my opinion. She had some great albums back in the day, man. She was one person in that like era of country that was terrible that she stood out. Like she was good. She had some good stuff back then. But this one just, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of this one. Travis Scott, here. That was a huge surprise and letdown. Okay. Yo, Vultures with Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign. I mean, people are gonna mark out about it saying it's Kanye and it's goated or whatever, but in reality, yeah, that's an F. I'm sorry. Whether it's Vultures 1 or Vultures 2, it's an F in my book. Denzel Curry, one of probably the most underrated rap artist there is. And this being just a mixtape was solid, man. Had some fire hits on it. Had a few that I wasn't a huge fan of too, but pretty good for what it was. Billie Eilish with her newest album. Why am I still wearing this, by the way? I hope y'all enjoying this. I'm sure it's boring, but this is like, if I could do more stuff like this on stream where people enjoyed it and were like happy with it, it would mean the world to me. But also, like, I know it's boring to see someone else's opinion on stuff like this for a lot of people. So I apologize if it is, but I'm having a great time. I mean, man, what, like, it's good. It's so good. It's not my favorite Billie Eilish record, but it's still really good. Mount Eerie, Night Palace. This is one of the longest albums of the year. My gosh, how long How long was this one? An hour and 21 minutes. That's like the normal length of a live album. And it was 26 songs. So it got confusing of like where new songs started and stuff like that. Not saying it was bad by any means. This dude has the saddest album, in my opinion, the saddest album that's ever been recorded. So if you really like sad music and you want to cry your eyes out, I don't care what you've been through in life. A Crow Looked at Me by Mount Erie is the saddest album that I've ever heard in my life. As for this one, like I said, it very much ran together at times. So I'm giving it a high C. It's good music, but it dragged out for me a little bit. This one just came out not long ago, I'm pretty sure, and I don't remember who this was. Okay, I don't know what this album is. I know that I didn't listen to it, so apologies to I hate like not at least giving credit to the name or whatever. Same for this one, I have no idea. I just know I didn't listen to that one. Logic. We all got the opinions about Logic if you listen to rap. This was a long awaited one right here. Ultra 85. You know, for Logic, I think everybody knew this was going to be a really good moment for him because like Logic you either love or you hate him. There's a lot more hate than love. I don't necessarily hate his music. It's just very corny at times. But this was probably his strongest album since maybe the first or second. Still had its kind of cheesy moments and stuff in there mixed in. So I'll put it at the end of B. Definitely nowhere near my favorite rap record of the year, but it definitely wasn't the worst either. I have no clue what this album is. And like Google certainly isn't gonna know. They're gonna think this is some like painting. This is making me realize that I like listening to 400 or 500 albums a year is just not enough because I'm missing out on so many of them. Oh my gosh. Okay. Tyler the Creator. Y'all mess with Tyler the Creator? Yeah, this was an album, man. Had its good and bad moments mixed throughout. I'm trying to think in like rap standards. I would say it was better. Yeah, I would say like right here. It kind of falls somewhere in there. Oh, Why Law? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it was. It was No Worries who the album was with. It was a lot of people really liked this one. I wasn't a big fan of this one, honestly. I don't know this album. Sure about that one. Knocked Loose, banger album, banger band. Not my favorite from them, but it's still really good. Yeah, we'll go high B for that. Wall of Eyes by The Smile. Ooh. So if you aren't familiar with The Smile, if you have ever heard of Radiohead, The Smile is Tom York, who was the lead singer of Radiohead, and then one other member of that band, plus a few others, formed The Smile a couple years back. Man, it's like an extension of Radiohead, man. They're so freaking good. The S ones are gonna be really hard for me to rank until I go through and like finalize my list for the year. So yeah, it's almost impossible for me to rank these right now. So I like just guessing that this is probably where I would go, but it's going to S tier. American Dream by 21. Red Rum was a banger. It had a couple other decent songs on it, but like not spectacular. Okay, this one's again, this isn't even worth the time to talk about. We're just skipping right over that. Gracie Abrams. Oh man. I'm sorry. I know if the right crowd were to happen to see me do this, I would get canceled immediately. There's like, you know, the female pop stars of the day that Taylor Swift like supports or whatever, right? Because anything that she supports, the whole world is gonna support. You have like Sabrina Carpenter. I get the hype there. That's cool, whatever. Gracie Abrams is like kind of in that category when I'm like, dude, where is like Lizzie McAlpine, mad talented that gets no love or credit, man. Yeah, Phoebe, I agree. I 100% agree with that. Like, she fits in there. She's worth, like, being in that conversation for sure. I just personally, like, there's nothing special, in my opinion, about this album, or really about her voice. Okay, got a lot to say about Might Delete Later. J. Cole, my GOAT. People acted like this was an album. It was not an album. This was an EP. He said it was an EP. Whether it was an EP or not, this was still phenomenal. Was it his best effort? No, I don't care. It's like incredibly good. When the fall off drops, hopefully this year. Oh man. Oh man. Oh snap. Hey, this right here, Joey Valance and Bray. This album, I again, it's gonna be impossible for me to rank the S's right now, but just early on, it's right there at the top, man. If you grew up in the 90s to early 2000s, references all of the popular things that were, hot in the 90s and 2000s, everything that we enjoyed as kids, like, it took you back to a time that you always wish you could go back to. So good. Metro and Future, the second album, like I said, like, this just really didn't need to happen. Had a couple good moments here and there. It didn't completely suck. I would say it goes like mid, like, first one goes to B, second one, Metro is gonna make good beats no matter what. So, like, that carried this, even though, again, it blended in and kind of sounded the same a little bit. Yeah, so this one for me, I'm not gonna lie, I had super high hopes for this one. It just fell short, man. Like, it just wasn't, like, it didn't feel right. I don't know what was wrong. I still haven't figured out, like, why it felt off, but, like, it wasn't bad. Again, it had her moments of, like, great songwriting and stuff like that, but, like, for her, I'll go, like, talking mid and bland, it's, like, literally almost dead center of C tier. New sound, very, like, you have to be very into this kind of sound to get into this. It's loud, it's not bad. Again, just kind of right in the middle, a lot of middle ones here, a lot of mid. And the thing that sucks is a lot of my albums that would be at the top aren't on this list, because this, like I said, is just a pre-made, like, popular album list kind of thing. The spilled version of Guts that came out last year added like 5 songs to the album. Yeah, I like, part of me wishes, like, lists like this didn't include deluxe versions and stuff, since this did come out originally like 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm just gonna treat this like, kind of the original album, plus the the bonus tracks were good. Probably go here with it. JPEG Mafia. Oh snap. Yo, if you talking about you talking about some crazy music right here, man. It's good. It was a good album. I would put it, like, right behind Tyler the Creator. Dua Lipa. This was her third album, right? Yeah, Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia, Radical Optimism. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, out of the 3, like, this was probably my, like, the first and this one could go back and forth. The second one is probably gonna forever be her best album. This one had good moments. It had some mid moments for me, but she's still, like, mad talented. I would go, like, B, end of the B tier. Don Toliver, kind of, I'd go D. It wasn't, I was hoping for a lot more than that, to be honest. I had a lot higher hopes than that. This could be Texas by English Teacher. I've said it multiple times. The S's are going to be nearly impossible for me to rank right now, but yes, it is going, early guess is going to S tier. So we got 5 in S so far. Honestly, not bad. Sabrina Carpenter, Great songs, you know, the singles were good. Are they overplayed at this point? Yes, but that's not her fault. I personally am not a huge fan of like pop music. So I have a harder time like super being into this kind of sound. But for modern day pop, it's good. Like it's much better than most. I'll go right right in the middle of B. 21 Pilots' new album. This had some really good moments on it. Probably it's not their best in my book, but it's a very solid album. I would probably go top of B. Katy Perry's new album, again, AI generated, throw some words into a program and see what it spits out kind of deal. The fall off of Katy Perry is just ridiculous, bro. Like she had bangers back in the day and now it's just easily forgotten. Plastic Death, yeah. I'm pretty sure that one I never got around to listening to. Here we go again. Lil Uzi Vert. There's gonna be the people that say no matter what that this is just the most amazing album in the world because it's Lil Uzi Vert. No, no. Brat, it's the same. This is just literally the deluxe version, so I'm just putting them side by side. Feel the same way about them. The deluxe is the original, so really no need to spend time there. Is this Chief Keef? I know I didn't listen to this album. Chief Keef? Yep, Chief Keef. I know I didn't get around to that one either. Lupe Fiasco. This was a interesting album, and it was actually pretty freaking good. I'd go honestly above Tyler the Creator, I think, on that one. Yeah, I'm good with that. This is a pretty bland one. A lot of people hated this album. Like hated this album. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but like it kind of reminds me of like this Lady Gaga thing. Like it just kind of happened, right? So it's not terrible. It's just it was just there. It was like an album, you know? Slim Shady's, I'll give it a high D. It feels weird doing that, to be honest. Have a hard time giving it any higher than that. Bring Me the Horizon, that's what I thought. This was kind of just a all over the place thing. Low C for me. I don't know what that is. I didn't listen to that. Didn't listen to that one either. My gosh. I need to step up my game. I need to listen to like 500 or 600 albums a year, I guess. Shakira's new album, again, like it's tough because you have like high standards for some people where it's like they had such bangers early on and then they continue to make music and it's just not the same. Low D. Better than Katy Perry, 100%. Oh, banger. All right, Beth Gibbons. This was a very good album. This was kind of a surprise for me. I'm gonna put this at a low B, but the B's are stacked, man. Like just because I'm putting some of these in B, like these are good albums. That just goes to show you that like last year was such a good year for music. Sky 100. This was a new experience for me listening to something like this. Like this was a very cool album. A cool sound, man. Honestly, I think this goes like right in the middle of B again. Like I feel bad for putting a lot of these in B, but like they're really good, man. They really are. Claro, okay, hold on now. Claro's getting a high B. High B, excuse me. Right there in the Sabrina Carpenter territory. G and X that we're listening to right now. Man. This might be my number 2 for Kendrick. Good Kid, Mad City. Like I don't think that's ever gonna be beaten. I don't think you can beat that. No matter who you are. Is it S tier or is yeah? It probably is. It probably yeah. It's good music, man. Tyla of pop music. This is probably some of the best of the year. I would say Tyla probably gets a like almost at the front of B for me. I mean, it's not really pop, but close enough. Jack White's new album this year, or this past year, man, crazy how he can still come up with some of the stuff that he does. That's going A tier. Jack White, one of the modern day legends of music, all over the board. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is. This album, this is actually an EP, so I'm not sure why this is on this list. Some of these have been EPs, so I'm not sure. Like the Bon Iver thing was an EP. I don't know why this one's an EP and it's on the list, but Conla's Well, this was a very, very highly rated one. I enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, I just don't really enjoy putting EPs on lists like this, but honestly, probably put it right behind Sky 100. I think that's a good place for it. NGK, yeah. I don't know exactly how to say this person's name, so if I say this wrong, I think it's Kamasi Washington. Very cool album. Very cool album. Not my like typical style by any means, so it was a strange listen for me, but it's because I'm just not used to that sound exactly. But like I would put it at like the end of B just because like I think I could really grow to like this kind of sound. This one I know I didn't listen to, nor did I listen to that. Alligator Bites Never Heal. This was actually like a mixtape that is done really, really well. I'm gonna go right above Logic for that. Ooh, okay. Donald Glover. This is supposedly like for a movie or something. At least that's what I heard. So like some of the tracks are like story based to whatever it is. Like so the album itself wasn't just fully focused on. It wasn't just a fully like lyrical music album. It definitely seemed like it's a soundtrack to something. Lithuania was a absolute banger. This had some really good songs on it, but it also kind of had some not great moments too. So I'd go like high C. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it feels a little weird, but yeah, I guess that's probably about right. Insano by Kid Cudi, man. I was so hyped for that album, dude. I really wanted it to be a big comeback for Cudi. I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did, but it definitely wasn't spectacular. Still had some good moments though. I'd probably get a ton of hate for putting that above like 21 and stuff like that, but high C. The Last Dinner Party, yo, big surprise at the start of last year. This was a fantastic album. Going to A tier for me. That was a super good album. Moon Music by Coldplay. This wasn't the worst. It wasn't their worst by far. It's just kind of in the middle, honestly. Very mid. Go boy Q. This was a decent one. Not my favorite. Not my favorite rap record. Put it like right in the middle, I think. Gunna, I enjoyed a lot better. I would say for Gunna, I would put that right around the Doechii Logic area. I'm just putting the deluxe ones right next to the original albums. I don't really care to differentiate those that much for a list like this. I think this is Porter Robinson. I didn't get around to that one last year. This one I didn't either. Okay, the second Smile album from last year. So the first one, Wall of Eyes, I have an S tier. That was a freaking fantastic album. This one was not as good, but that's not to say it wasn't good at all. Tom York, it's gonna sound good no matter what. So this is probably going to top of B. And then last but not least, or maybe, well, no, it's not gonna be least. It can't be worse than Imagine Dragons. Ice Spice. Like, no. Here we go. Out of the pre-made ones, this is where we ended up. 6 S tier albums. Not too bad. A lot of B's in here, a lot of C's in here. I feel like some of these right here that are on the S tier are in the running for my album of the year for sure. But like I said, a lot of them that were my favorites from last year aren't even on this list. So overall, I feel like this is pretty solid.